3 tips to help you let go of unrealistic expectations and embrace imperfection. If you read this title or heard this title and it triggered a little something inside of you, it made you cringe a little bit, then listen up. This episode is for you. So, I hope you had the most amazing Christmas, but I just want to keep it real because I feel like we have such high expectations of how things should be, how we plan things out a certain way and we want them to be fulfilled in that way. And it doesn't always happen. And if you are a perfectionist or a recovering perfectionist like I am, they can definitely trigger something inside of you and, definitely cause some stress and anxiety in your life. And I just want to share 3 things that I found that have been helpful for me, and hopefully that you will also find helpful and encouraging. Hey mama! If you're looking to have a deeper relationship with Jesus and searching for a community of Christian moms, I'm so glad you are here. I'm a Christian wife and mom who is passionate about helping mamas finally let go of the mom guilt and learn to live loved. I want to help mamas see that they are truly and perfectly loved, especially in motherhood. Welcome back to the Live Loved Mom podcast. I'm Cindy, your host. I'm a wife, mom, and lover of Jesus. Let's dig into God's Word together and get encouraged while we're on this journey of motherhood. Let's learn some parenting tips and mom hacks and learn how to raise our kids God's way. So, grab your coffee, listen on your drive to work, or maybe put that forgotten load of laundry back to wash again. Let's tackle mom guilt together and learn to live loved. Hey mama, welcome back. I had a pretty good Christmas, but I just want to preface it with my goal for this year was to have a nice, calm, and relaxing Christmas. And it did not turn out that way at all. It was not calm and relaxing as I hoped it would be, but it was still a good Christmas. And I just want to, it's so easy for us to see like all the beautiful family pictures and the kids opening the presents and all the the beautiful good things that happen on Christmas morning. And it also can be a little disheartening if we're not careful, because then we start comparing ourselves with other people. Oh, wow, their Christmas tree looks so much better than mine. And oh man, like I wish I was able to get my son this gift this year, So I think it's very easy for us to see what's on social media and try to compare ourselves to it, which is what's on social media is just a highlight. It's just highlighting the good things. It's a highlight reel of those people's lives. It's a highlight reel of my life, right? I posted a picture on social media saying Merry Christmas, and it was a picture of our family at church, or of our family in front of our kids, like my son and his cousins in front of the Christmas tree. But you wouldn't know what it was like in the house, that morning. So I just wanted to, share what has helped me, and hopefully this will be encouraging for you. Let me first start by saying this, right? I posted a picture of my niece in my stories reading the Christmas story from Luke 2. And I felt like I had to put like a little comment underneath to say like, it looks because when I looked at the picture, it looks so very like peaceful and calming and like like such a beautiful devotional time. And in my mind, I was like, but this was definitely not the way that it was. It was very chaotic. The boys, including my husband, were trying to turn the TV on and play video games and talk about video games. My youngest nephew was, who's a toddler, was just running around all over the place. It just felt very loud, noisy, and chaotic. And in the midst of it, I'm trying to kind of bring everybody into like, let's listen to this, Christmas story together and like reflect on Jesus. And I just want to share the reality of it, right? Because it's sometimes it's not always what we see on social media. It's not always this calm, this calm and reflective time. Sometimes it's just chaotic and trying to get everybody to listen and trying to get everybody to calm down. And I just remember listening to a podcast, and Priscilla Shire was talking about, I think it was on a podcast, but she was talking about how in her household, they would do like devotionals at the table with their whole family. And I love that she said that, but she said that it wasn't like nice and pretty, like it was chaotic, and, they still did it. So to me, that felt reassuring that, even though I want everybody to like sit still and be quiet and read the word and reflect, the reality is that it's not always going to happen that way. And I just felt like I needed to share that with you moms, because I feel like we can see on social media how other moms are able to have like this quiet and serene time with their kids. For me, it's not happening that way. Okay. Just maybe you can relate, but it definitely wasn't happening that way for me. So yeah, it was an interesting moment because everyone was loud and nobody was attentively listening. And then another thing where, it felt chaotic. And so, yeah, another thing is Christmas morning, we were still wrapping our Christmas gifts. You guys, like Christmas Eve, I oversalted the rice. Like it was just so many things, so many things that were like, what is happening right now? And I feel like the old me would have been so upset about all of these things. But it just rolled off, and I just kept, moving on, trying to make the best of the situation. So I just wanted to share that because I feel that sometimes we can see how on social media, everything looks perfect. Everything looks like it's been, set up correctly and everything went as according to plan. And real life is rarely that way, right? So I just wanted to share that. We did keep reading the Bible story, and then we talked about it after. I even asked questions, and even though I didn't think, they were listening, they were able to answer some of the questions. So it's, it every little bit I think counts, right? Anyways, my calm, relaxing Christmas was just a great, fun, chaotic, joyful Christmas. But, we learned to just be grateful for what we do have, even if it doesn't fit the ideal scenario or the ideal plan. We made some fun memories with our family. The kids enjoyed themselves. We had a nice meal. We went out to see the Christmas light. And I honestly just cherish all of these things in my heart. I feel that perfectionism sets us up for failure. In a way, we are not satisfied with just allowing things to be, right? We feel like we must fix, we have to be more, do this, do that. And that can lead us to feeling anxious and being depressed. And if nothing else, I mean, it creates more stress in our lives. So I had to learn to let go of that and embrace my imperfections. Because truthfully, no one is perfect. We all go through things and fight silent battles, right? I had to learn to let go of perfectionism and embrace my imperfections because truthfully, no one is perfect. We all go through things, we all have our faults, our blind spots. The first tip I would say that has helped me let go of unrealistic expectations is, I would say, first thing is to always expect change, right? I mean, one thing is for certain is there will always be changes. Things are bound to go differently than we plan. So we have to let go of the idea that everything will go as planned because it often doesn't. And we can change our mindset beforehand, before going into the situation and realizing that most likely it will not go exactly as planned. Sometimes it is within our control, and other times it's truly nothing that we can do about it. It's truly like, if it's something like there's an accident and there's traffic, like we can't do anything about that. We can try to anticipate what can go wrong ahead of time and maybe have a backup plan. This reminds me of episode 24, what we had with Jackie Davy, the purpose coach, when she talked about having smarter goals. And then the E is to like evaluate goal. And that's to think about like what can go wrong, what possibly could go wrong in this situation, and how will I be able to pivot, or how can I accommodate for this thing that could go wrong, right? So I think that it's important for us to be aware that things might not go as planned, be okay with things not going as planned, right? And also, as we're maybe planning out things, to anticipate what can we do if this thing goes wrong, right? So I think that's the number one thing, is to be aware that, hey, like I might have this plan, but it's probably not going to go that way, or it might not go that way. And being aware of that, I think already puts us at an advantage, because we are not expecting everything to be perfect. Like, we're aware that it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be exactly this way. And that's okay. And I think the number two thing is, or the second tip would be to be more flexible, right? If things don't go the way that we plan, we can be mad about it. We can be sad about it. We can try our best to fix it and make it go the way that we want it to go. We could try to do all the things and even try to force it to happen, right? When they're clearly not going as planned. And it's like pushing against the rip currents of the ocean, right? When we encounter a rip current, right, we're often advised not to swim against the current, but to swim parallel alongside the current, or to just float, right? So I think same applies in our life and in our motherhood journey, is we have to learn to kind of go with the flow in a way, right? And I think that's also for us to consider that maybe this is a redirection from the Lord, right? It's like when we put an address in the GPS and there's a roadblock, right? So we're going and the GPS tells us, hey, there's a roadblock, take this different route. So the GPS tells us to reroute, but instead of rerouting, we're like, no, this is the way that we should be able to go. We're going to just sit here in this traffic, or sit here until the road opens up, right? And that's just ridiculous. It's not feasible. And I think that in our life as well, God might be using a certain situation to redirect us. So maybe if things don't go as planned, maybe we can start praying for direction. God, okay, obviously this is not working. Can you please lead me the way that I need to go? Right? So that's my second tip, is to learn to be flexible to learn to kind of go with the flow, and be aware that things might not go our way. Be aware that if it's okay if things don't go our way. and expect for things to, the first step was to expect for things to not go our way, right? And then my third tip is super simple. It's honestly, I think I've said this several times, but it's truly to just let go and let God. I feel like this year has been a year of like learning to just surrender things to the Lord. And even if it's like the smallest thing, I think sometimes, especially if we are a people pleaser, if we're a perfectionist, and I'm saying this because this is what I've been through. This is, who I'm recovering from being. We can try to, do things our way or try to do things to please other people, try to make it like a specific way, but we're not truly letting go and trusting the one who truly is in control, right? Can we let go of whatever situation? Can we let go of whatever plan? And can we just trust that when things don't go our way or they don't go as we planned it, that God has a bigger and better plan? Can we trust that God has our best interest in mind? Right? Can we trust that the God of the universe that raised Christ from the dead, that created the cosmos, that created you and me, can handle whatever situation that we are feeling out of control about? Whether it is a big situation, a big dream, a big plan, or whether it is a minute, simple thing of just we need to go to the grocery store or we need to do this for our child, right? It could be as big or as little. God is in the details. God is in every aspect of our life, whether small or big. And we have to learn to let go and let God and allow him to take control. The Bible actually says in 2 Corinthians 12:9, it says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." That second part, like, whoo. God's power is made perfect in weakness. Because I think we look at our weaknesses and we're like, oh my gosh, like I'm such a horrible this. Oh my gosh, I'm not great at that. Oh my gosh, right? The Bible literally tells us that God's power is made perfect in weakness. Like, can we just reflect on that for a second? Can we trust that when he says he has plans, that they are for his glory and for our good? Can we trust that what he says, he means and he is faithful? I can tell you in my experience and my walk with the Lord and my walk with Jesus, I've experienced his goodness and faithfulness in my life when I finally let go and gave it to the Lord. That's when we can see it. That's when we can see his hand at work, is when we actually let go of it. So I don't know what situation in your life right now you're feeling out of control about or feeling less than about, but I just want to encourage you to let it go and ask God for direction. Let him take control. Give him control of the wheel. Let him be in the driving seat, right? Another thing is, whatever we might be feeling out of control about or less than about, it could also be because we're comparing ourselves to others, right? It's because we're seeing the highlight reel on social media of the perfect family, the perfect kids, the perfect spouse, the pristine house that's super clean and everything is in place. And that makes me think about Galatians 1:10, where it says, "Are we seeking the approval of man or of God?" Because comparison can make us feel anxious and less than. If you go back and listen to episode 19, where we talked about the comparison trap, comparison can lead to unrealistic expectations. And if it's something that we struggle with, if it's something that we are trying to, get better at and embrace our imperfections, I'm telling you, comparison is gonna be detrimental in doing that. So I think we have to let go of these unrealistic expectations, which truly can make us have horrible mom guilt, right? Because we can feel like, wow, like I'm not providing like this mom is, or I'm not doing all these things for my family that this mom on social media is doing. Or, oh my goodness, like their kids are able to do this and do that. So we feel like we are less than, we feel guilty because we feel that we're not spending enough time with our kids, or we're not providing enough for our family, right? And all of these things can be rooted in comparison. So I think, we have to learn to anticipate change, because change is going to happen. Everything is not going to go as planned. I'm telling you that for sure. And we have to learn to be flexible and pray for direction when things don't go as planned, and realize that, maybe this is the Lord telling me we need to go a different way. Maybe this is the Lord telling me we need to wait on this situation, right? We have to let go and let God, like literally just bless and release and say, Lord, here it is. You know what you're doing. You are in control. You want the best for me. You want glory out of this situation. You want to be praised out of this situation. So I know it's going to be turned around, and I know that you're going to be glorified through it. And I know that my mess is going to turn into a message. So I hope that this was helpful for you, Mama. I hope that it definitely encouraged you. I also just want to say thank you so much for listening to the podcast, for sharing the podcast with others, for leaving your 5-star reviews, especially on Apple. And I would love to connect with you. So if you would have questions or comments or subjects that you want to hear more about, or if you want someone on the show, like a guest that you would like to hear on the show, please email us. You can email us at livelovedmompodcast@gmail.com. That's livelovedmompodcast@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. All right. So I hope that this has blessed you in some way. I hope that you have an amazing, 5 days left of the year now. And I will talk to you soon. So let's remember to continue to learn to live loved. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I pray that it has blessed you in some way. If you found value in this episode, or you know a mama who could use some encouragement, please be sure to share the episode with them. Would you take just a few minutes to leave a review on Apple Podcasts? It would mean a great deal to me if you could let me know what you thought of the episode. Be sure to follow us at Live Love Mom Podcast on Instagram. And if you haven't already, come join us in our free Live Love Mom community on Facebook. Let's mom alongside each other and continue to learn to live loved.